The new work week is charging out of the gate, making its way down the front stretch, and we're in the spin cycle. Same areas are going to see severe weather. We've got a flooding threat, and then well, stick around. I'll tell you all about it. Plus, we'll have a look at your long range and check out your weather IQ. So don't go anywhere. A new episode of Cold Rain's Weather World starts right now. Well, it's another Monday, it's another start to the work week, and it's another special work week kickoff edition of Cold Rain's Weather World, the fastest growing new weather show on the internet, where we've got all the weather, and man, are we growing rapidly. I'm overwhelmed with all the new subscriber growth over the past week or so. We've really come up in number, and I'm just overwhelmed by that. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome aboard. I hope you find it fun and entertaining. We, of course, go through all of the current weather, the upcoming weather. We highlight any important weather events that are about to take place or currently occurring, and make sure that you're informed about what you expect to expect over the coming few days, your work week ahead, and into the weekend. And so we're going to look at the severe weather threat this afternoon. We're also going to look at the severe weather threat tomorrow, the flooding risk, as well as some changes to the long range. So we're going to get into all of that, plus some geological events as well. We always talk a little bit about that. And we have a little fun along the way. So hopefully you enjoy yourself. And certainly if you're a returning guest, thank you for coming back and for spending some time here with me. I'll have all of the segments of the show broken out in the description down below in the video description. So skip right ahead to wherever you need to get to. But we always start out by testing your weather IQ and see how much you know about the weather. And so today's question is about eclipses. So we're going to test your weather IQ about eclipses. But today's weather question, or its IQ question, is sponsored by Almost There Shipping. So if you're tired of paying first-rate prices for first-rate shipping, then come see us at Almost There Shipping, where almost all packages almost get to their destination almost in one piece. Our representatives are almost always easy to work with, and we'll be able to answer almost any question that you have. So come on out and visit us at any of our convenient locations. Hours may vary, so you may not be able to get in, but hey, you almost made it. Thank you, Almost There Shipping. If you have any good ideas for sponsors for me, please let me know. Right now, we're just kind of taking everything we can get because we're a small channel, but we are growing, folks, and we've got a good IQ question for you today. So here it is. Oh, and I wanted to also say that I had my son home with me this weekend, as well as some other family members visiting from out of town, and he wanted to participate on the little shorts that I do on a daily basis too, to talk about the weather for the day. And so he joined me on those videos. If you haven't seen those, take a quick look. They're kind of cute and fun, and anyway, it's fun to have him participate on that. Being autistic, it's good for his brain development to do some dynamic type things, but we had a good time doing that. So anyway, enough rambling. Here is the weather IQ question. During which event does the Earth pass directly between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow on the moon? A solar eclipse, a lunar eclipse, the equinox, or the solstice? Okay, so if you know the answer, as always, type it in the comments section. If you don't know the answer, then just wait till the end of the show, and I will make sure that you know it by the end of the show. And feel free, by the way, to leave any other additional comments in the comment section that you might have. A prayer request, if there's something I can pray over for you, I want to do that. Pray for you all every day anyway, but let me know if there's something I can pray over. If you have a question or comment about the show, please leave that too. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel too. We'll continue to grow and do what we do here. So thanks again for joining, and let's get on into the weather for today. So we're going to start off our weather portion of the show for your Monday forecast with the water vapor imagery today. We usually start with some sort of a satellite picture, and the water vapor imagery today shows a couple of interesting things, and I wanted to point those out to you as well. So take a look here. We've got this big gyre spinning over the Ohio Valley. This is an upper level low that is just set up shop here. Airflow around that is counterclockwise. We've got another one of these that's dropped anchor in the southwest. And so you can see that again out here on our vapor imagery, and little waves circulating around this in the mid-levels of the atmosphere kick off showers and thunderstorms occasionally. And the southerly flow out on the east side of these pumps in moisture. And so you can kind of see that really well on our satellite feed or water vapor imagery. We've got moisture coming in from the Atlantic up into New England. That's setting the stage for shower and thunderstorm activity. We've got some moisture out here, kind of in a shape like that. We've got the little wave coming in, and even look kind of like a little, little smiley face here. Look at that. So we've got sideways smiley face. When we see this pattern, folks, the sideways smiley face pattern, that usually indicates unsettled weather for parts of the country, and we certainly are seeing that. So high clouds, rain showers, unsettled weather in certain areas of the country. But I wanted to show you that because it really does a good job of laying out the features that are impacting our weather over the lower 48. And you can see the radar imagery as well, looking at showers in Montana, snow in the higher elevations where we have some winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings up, unsettled weather under the trough in the southwest, heavy rain here in Texas, extending up almost to Pueblo, Colorado, back through Abilene. We're seeing heavy showers and some thunder coming out from underneath these showers as well, or occurring within these showers. And unsettled weather through the Ohio Valley and down in here to Tennessee and Kentucky, and then some showers up here in southern New England where we've got a potential for some heavy rain later today. So we're looking at putting this into motion and kind of see how these things are playing out. But certainly throughout the day, we're going to see coverage increase. We'll have a severe threat and a flooding threat as well. Taking a look at the hazards map today, a couple of interesting things on this hazards map that catch your eye right away. This big area of flash flood watches that are up from Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico down into Louisiana and Arkansas. This is for some of these watches on the western side are essentially through this afternoon and evening, and then we've got additional watches that are hoisted for tomorrow as that heavy rain threat shifts to the east. A lot of these thunderstorms that we're going to see are training. They're efficient rainfall producers. We've already seen plenty of rain in some of these areas, and so we've got flood watches up for that. Red flag warnings up here where the wind's going to blow this afternoon and gust into the 30s and 40s. So not all that super duper strong, but it's very low humidity up here. It's going to be warm, and so adverse fire conditions could develop. Winter weather advisories and winter storm warning even here for part of the Bighorns, where we could see in the higher elevations as much as 18 inches of snow, and then another little section of winter storm warning down here in New Mexico where we could see as much as 2 feet of snow in the higher elevations. So it's still snowing and winter in some places, and we're seeing less and less of that, but we'll continue to see some of it through the course of the month. And looking at the surface map, big low pressure, down here, this upper level low is sitting here in the southwest. The other one, of course, is up here in the Ohio Valley. Frontal zone extending all the way back from this area back through the Gulf into Texas. Thunderstorms, of course, love to form along boundaries, and so we're seeing a warm front up here as well. Stretching through New England. So we're going to see plenty of areas of focus for shower and thunderstorm activity where we have instability and where we have moisture. And we certainly see that in a broad area up and down the East Coast. And we've got slight risk of severe weather up here. We've got an enhanced risk of severe weather back here in Texas. And so we've certainly got plenty of opportunity to see showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Of course, snow in the higher elevations. High pressure is kind of dominating the center of the country from the Midwest down to parts of the western southeast. And so we won't look at a lot of convection in this area today, and should be mostly clear in those areas. Slight risk of excessive rainfall where we've seen those flash flood watches in western New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle, and we're seeing of course another slight risk up in New England as well. It's already raining there. We're going to see rain pick up through the day. And looking at the total rainfall estimate from the WPC, they put this out every day for various time periods. I'm showing you the daily time period, so this takes us through tomorrow morning, looking at anywhere from 1.5 inches up to as much as 3 inches of rain in parts of West Texas, New Mexico, and then again copious rainfall in the Northeast where we could see some flooding in some spots here. Flash flood warnings are issued. Know what to do, know how to take cover if severe weather alerts are issued as well. So plan for that in West Texas, New Mexico, and again up in the New England areas for flooding, and then up and down the coastal plain and possibly into Florida for severe weather this afternoon. Looking at our high temperature map, going to be chillier under the trough and under those cutoff lows where there's clouds and showers. So you can see that reflected here with temperatures in the 50s in the southwest, and then cool up in the mountains where we're seeing snow, a little trough working into the northwest as well, keeping it cool up there. But the big ridge in Canada that's helping to block these systems in place these cutoff lows, is generating warm temperatures in the upper Midwest, North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, up into the 80s. Gets a little cooler through the plains, but not all that much, in the 70s, 80s along the southeast and southeast coast, and then cool under that upper low in the Ohio Valley with temperatures in the 60s, and then the same in New York with a trough, or New England with a trough up there in northern New England. Severe weather threat this afternoon enhanced here for Texas. Slight risk around that extending through much of east or west central Texas. Marginal risk around that. And then a new slight risk has been added up here for the southern and eastern lakes region down through the coastal plain of Virginia and into the coastal plain of North Carolina as well, with a marginal risk surrounding that into the Delmarva and a marginal risk in Florida. So we could see in several rounds of severe weather today in different locations of the country. Looking at Texas this afternoon, we're seeing a tornado threat that is possible with supercells that will develop later today. A wind threat as well, with potentially some significant winds with one or two of those supercells. Hail, again, a primary threat with freezing levels the way they are near this upper low. It's colder aloft, so you get a chance for larger hail when you have one of those systems nearby. And then supercells developed and help enhance the lift, and you get greater hail production. And so we're seeing a 30% chance of hail, and hail could be larger than 2 inches. So we've seen some baseball size hail recently, and we could certainly see that this afternoon or larger. A little bit less of a threat up here in New England for that extremely large hail, but certainly could see some hail, wind up there, and not very much in the way of a tornado, although any storm could produce a tornado. So just keep that in mind, folks. So that's what we're looking at from a severe weather standpoint today. Looking at Cape values this afternoon. This is mid-morning, and so we're already seeing thunderstorm fuel gather here over Texas and up here along the eastern seaboard as well, down and through Florida. As we roll this through the day, those thunderstorms will form. They'll eat up some of this fuel, so you'll see it kind of wax and wane as clusters of thunderstorms will move through and kind of eat it up a little bit. That builds up here over into the mid-Atlantic, southern New England areas over the course of the day. And as we get into night, that will diminish somewhat, but we've got a good return flow, so we'll continue to keep moisture flowing out of the south. And so we'll see Cape values continue to maintain down in Texas. And what we're going to see in terms of the thunderstorm threat is we'll see some supercells develop this afternoon down here in Texas. So I'm going to show you that. So we put this updraft helicity map into motion. This is just where the rotation is in the atmosphere as the thunderstorms develop. You kind of see those swaths develop. Here's one coming in. Here's another one back here in New Mexico. Don't pay attention so much to the exact placement of these. The model doesn't know exactly where thunderstorms are going to develop, but what it's showing you is that when thunderstorms develop, they're going to have rotation for a time period. And so you can see that here on the helicity map as we go through the evening hours, and those thunderstorms will continue to develop back here in this enhanced risk area. That's where the greatest threat is. And so we'll see the rotation through the atmosphere. Eventually, the night jet will kick in. A little perturbation in the mid-levels will kind of help to organize some of these supercells into clusters and potentially send an MCS, a mesoscale convective system, through Texas with an organized wind threat that may be ongoing out here in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, impinging in to Arkansas and Louisiana tomorrow. We're going to have to see how that plays out, but that's a possibility for sure. So bringing all this together with the surface map, we can kind of see how this plays out this afternoon. See those thunderstorms kind of develop down here in Texas, and we could see even central areas kind of get in on it too. Plenty of unsettled weather out here in the Intermountain West and the Rocky Mountains, snow in the higher elevations, and then storms start to fire up this afternoon as we get on into 2, 3 o'clock here in the Piedmont sections, coastal plain sections of North Carolina and Virginia, as well as parts of the Ohio Valley and up here in southern New England. So all of that will maximize in intensity around 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then fade out after that. But you'll be left with some residual showers, of course, where those upper lows are, and have some instability and moisture return. And you can see through the night tonight that organization that's taking place down here in Texas, and could send some thunderstorm activity up into Oklahoma and, of course, across Texas as well. We'll stop it here as we get into Tuesday morning, because that is your daily forecast. High temperatures this afternoon are going to surge into the 80s. We saw that already. And low temperatures tonight. I didn't show you the low temperatures, but we can look at that real quick. Always like to show you lows too, in case you have planning concerns. You can kind of see what's going on. So there's our maximum temperatures, minimum temperatures overnight tonight. Cold out here in the Rocky Mountains, but mostly above freezing everywhere else. It's a little chillier up in the north where we've got 40s, maybe even 50s, and then up into Maine as well, but 50s and near 60 everywhere else in the southeast, and up along the west coast. Going to be muggy there too. So that is your Monday forecast, folks, and we'll get into the rest of it here in just a minute. Before we carry on with the rest of the forecast, I wanted to take a look back at something that happened in 1995 on May the 5th. So this event is known as the Mayfest hailstorm, and it hit the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex, producing hail over 4.5 inches, and it did lots and lots of damage. We've seen lots of large hail recently, so I thought this was something that was interesting to show. Softball size hail is almost 4 inches, and so we saw lots of softball size hail, even larger than that, back in 1995. It was the first singular thunderstorm with a damage total exceeding $1 billion. And at the time, it was the costliest non-tornadic storm in U.S. history. 20 people were killed by the thunderstorm complex that eventually moved through. Most of that was due to flooding. Nobody got killed from hail, by the way. And I will put a link to an interesting YouTube video. So a news station down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area actually did a little bit of a recap of that event years and years later. And so that's an interesting thing. I watched that. I'm not going to spend time here, but I'll put the link in the description. So take a look at that. You'll find it interesting. Some really cool pictures of hail, but lots and lots of damage done by that event. So that's what happened today, May the 5th, in 1995 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So as we head on into the rest of the work week, tomorrow looks like the most active severe weather day out of the next 4, not counting today, of course, with a big slight risk area back here mostly in Texas into Louisiana as well. I told you earlier that we could see a mesoscale convective system or complex kind of move through Texas. If that happens, we'll see an organized wind threat carry on into Louisiana by the morning hours, mid-morning, something like that. And then if that somehow does not evolve and we don't overturn the atmosphere in the morning, a greater tornado threat could persist in some of these areas. But certainly tomorrow we've got enough instability and enough shear so that all weather hazards are going to be possible. Tornadoes are going to be possible, wind is going to be possible, hail is going to be possible, again with some significant hail also on the table. And certainly up here again in the sort of the New York, Pennsylvania, southern New England, northern mid-Atlantic. I'm not sure exactly how to label this as sort of a tweener here, folks, but in any event, up here is where you could see a few storms pop up, widely scattered severe weather with not really a tornado threat, but wind and hail is possible up there in the Northeast tomorrow. And as we head on into Wednesday, really there's no signal for organized severe weather. There is a possibility that we could see a little bit of an increase in that over the next 24 hours as models kind of understand the environment a little bit better, some of the mesoscale models. So we'll keep an eye on it, but just general thunderstorm activity across the south and up into the New England as well. That system will finally start to depart and push on off to the northeast. It's been hanging out in the Ohio Valley. We've got essentially, let's see if I did this. Yeah, here we go. So we've got a moderate risk tomorrow of excessive rainfall, a large area of slight risk. So certainly training thunderstorms, heavy rainfall is a possibility with efficient rainfall production. So pay attention if you're in West Texas, northern Louisiana, and places like Texarkana, Shreveport, over to Baton Rouge, and into Jackson, Mississippi. We're looking at plenty, even into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Certainly, those are your high focus areas for several inches of rainfall. As we head on into the later in the week, that will diminish. But of course, over the next 3 days, this is your 3-day rainfall totals. we're seeing a large area of an inch or more of rain, several areas within some of these pockets back here in Colorado, New Mexico, West Texas, 2 to 3 inches of rain, not out of the question. And then a large area of 4 or 5, maybe even 6, 7 inches of rain in some of these spots down here in Louisiana. So, down on the bayou, be careful, folks, if you're traveling down there or just, out and about. Pay attention to flooded roadways. Don't cross any of those. Up in New England, certainly a threat of heavy rain exists as well, where we've got just that fetch of moisture coming in on the east side of that upper low. Looking at our surface map tomorrow, there's our upper low kind of starting to move out a little bit. Still very, very slow though. Trailing cold front down through the Gulf into Texas, where we're going to see boundaries and shear and all of that kind of come together to create one more day of organized severe weather and heavy rain, and then a little bit of snow back into the Rockies. As we get on into Wednesday, just general thunderstorm activity. Several boundaries around could be the focus for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Still got these upper lows and energy rotating around those are going to kick off showers, going to kick off some storms. But as we look on ahead in terms of looking at the long range pattern at least over the course of this week, look at how everything's kind of set up here. So this is Tuesday morning. We've got this big omega block that sort of has established itself, and you can kind of see that here. You see how it kind of goes up like this. You got the ridge in the middle, the two upper lows east of the east and west of that looks sort of like an omega pattern. These are kind of slow to move out and break down, ridging across Canada. That's slowing the flow. That's helping to cut off some of these systems. And slowly over the course of the week, we get into Wednesday. We've got that one up in the Ohio Valley now has moved into the northeast. This other one is going to kind of move slowly over the desert southwest out into the plains, into the southeast, and just sort of linger there as we get on into the week. We've got ridging over the top, a nice ridge on the west coast, and it's going to help to trap all this ridging, these orange areas that you see up here, sort of trap this low pressure, this trough into the southeast. And then we start to see some divergence as we get toward the week. The GFS wants to move this thing on out. The European wants to lag it behind. We've seen the GFS be overly aggressive in moving troughs out quickly. The scores on that thing have plummeted recently too. So we're going to go with the European ensemble members. And when we see this trough sort of settling in the southeast like this and lingering here over a period of time, look at this. See that trough there? Got this other trough up in the northeast. That's where we're going to find unsettled weather. So anywhere, I would say, in the southeast particularly, but maybe even up here into the northeast as well, as we get into the end of the week, we're going to see unsettled weather conditions, fair weather out west, where you've got ridging. It sort of caps the atmosphere and helps keep things quiet. But that trough just persists as we get into the weekend. So parts of the southeast could have a wet Mother's Day. We're not going to get too far down the line just yet, because things certainly can change as we get 7 to 10 days out. But just know that the potential is there for a quieter pattern along the west coast into the upper plains and into the southeast. We could see a little bit more in the way of cooler weather and unsettled weather as we get toward the back half of the week, as that upper low kind of moves out, shears out, opens up into a trough, and lingers a bit. So we'll watch that as we go through the week. But the severe weather threats, all of that stuff should quiet down, and we should start to see a quieter pattern come into play as we get through the week, out of the first half of the week. So that's what we're looking at. Here's the surface maps. We can see that thunderstorm complex tomorrow morning. The European shows that nicely. It likes the wind threat here for Louisiana and eastern Texas, and then showers and thunderstorms up in New England. This will persist. Eventually, that trough out of New England will move out and bring better conditions into the Ohio Valley. We'll still see some unsettled weather through the southeast, but you can see all of that sort of taper off in terms of its intensity as we get on in. This is Thursday morning, Thursday evening. See some spotty showers and storms work in. When you have a trough, you're going to have spotty showers and thunderstorms. That's typical for afternoon in the warm season. Dies out overnight, comes back again on Friday. Little cold front lingering through the area. You might see some showers and storms up through the Great Lakes and the mid-Atlantic areas as well as we get on through Friday afternoon and evening. And then a secondary wave of low pressure may develop and help to propel things forward. We'll just have to see how that goes as we get toward the end of the week. But that's your weekly forecast, folks. Temperature-wise, going to be a warm week for most areas. Here, let's get to a place here where we can actually see what the temperature map looks like. Sorry, here, let me get this in a better position for us. There we go. We'll look at it this way. So we can see Tuesday afternoon temperatures in the 70s and 80s for much of the country, except for the trough in the west and over New England as well. And as we get on into Wednesday afternoon, much the same warm 70s and 80s across much of the country, just underneath these little troughs of low pressure, and upper lows is where you'll find 60s and 50s, and of course in the Rocky Mountains as well. And as we get on into the end of the week, warming up across the south, ridging across the north, keeping us in the 80s there, chilly in New England, and chilly in New England again, up in the northeast as we get into Friday. So warm for much of the rest of the country, 70s and 80s, so above normal in parts of the country. Looking at our geological update today, same 5 volcanic areas that we've been watching, so nothing new there. We had a couple, hey, there's Google. We could search some things if we wanted to, but we had a couple of earthquakes over the course of the weekend. Another one down south of Argentina as an aftershock to that 7.3 we saw before. A 5.4 here in Texas, just below the New Mexico border. I don't think anybody really felt that because nobody's out here, but it was fairly shallow. So if you were traveling or hiking or anything out there, you probably felt some shaking couple days ago out there. Looking at sunspot activity, we've got the one sunspot cluster that we've been looking at. It is now facing Earth. The magnetism was separated, but now it's starting to get interspersed. So we're going to watch this for solar flare activity as we go through the next couple of days. Fortunately, it's rotating away. That's the only complex sunspot we see. Here's the magnetic activity. You can kind of see that here. Look at that. So magnetism positive out front, negative in the back. But look, you've got a little island, little area here that's starting to become positive within the negative zone, and that could lead to interaction and some solar flaring there. But in the meantime, aurora viewing, we're not seeing a lot in the way of aurora activity, so we're not going to have to worry too much about geomagnetic storms or anything like that. And that leads us into the answer to today's Weather IQ question. Hopefully, you were able to get that. But in any event, if you did not know that question, then I've got the answer right here. So during which event does the Earth pass directly between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow on the moon? Solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, equinox, solstice, and the answer is, of course, a lunar eclipse. And this occurs when the Earth is between the sun and the moon, and the Earth's shadow falls on the moon, and it causes the moon to appear darkened or sort of reddish in color. And you have a couple of different versions of this. You have a total eclipse, which of course is the complete shadow, a partial eclipse, which is a partial shadow, and then a smaller shadow, less noticeable, is called a prenumbral lunar eclipse. Just slow down and we can say it. We just have to slow down sometimes. That's a good life lesson. Slow down, enjoy the moment. Take a minute and get it right. Prenumbral lunar eclipse. Okay, that's what happens when you have the occurs when the Earth is between the sun and the moon, and really anytime in the nights, anywhere in the night sky, you can actually see that. So the next total lunar eclipse, by the way, will occur on March the 3rd, 2026. Makes me want to know when the next total solar eclipse will occur, and it will occur for the United States in terms of being visible on August the 22nd, 2044, and it will be visible only from Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. However, the following year, a total eclipse will, I believe it's the following year, will occur for many more states. Prior to that, the only total solar eclipse from anywhere in the United States will be visible in Alaska, March 30th, 2033. My friends, that is the end of the show. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and hit the like button if you like the content. Add comments in the comments section. Certainly happy to pray over anything going on in your life, but leave a specific prayer request if you want. Otherwise, I'll just pray for you in general. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. Hope you have a great week ahead. Now you know about eclipses. Now you know about the weather. And of course, this is as always, this is Cold Rain reminding you that if other stations run 24/7, we got you covered 48/14 right here on Cold Rain's Weather World. Take care, everybody.